Hey, do you ever feel lazy when you skip a workout after a long, stressful day at the office? What if I were to tell you that you're not lazy? Instead, you're following a workout plan that doesn't match your current reality. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to train in a way that matches rather than works against your high-stress, busy lifestyle so that you can build muscle, burn fat, and stay consistent for the long haul without burning out. Hey guys, Aaron Kupitz, personal trainer, functional aesthetics of Eau Claire, blending science and innovation to help busy men in their 40s build muscle, shed fat, and perform better in their lives inside and outside the gym. Have you ever had an ambitious workout planned for after work, but then everything at work goes sideways, and by the time the day is done, you're just burnt out and have no desire to go to the gym whatsoever? If so, you're not alone. Nothing will kill your discipline faster than a long, stressful workday coupled with ambitious workout plans. It's like your brain just rebels and shuts down. When you're already stressed, contemplating doing something very difficult and hard at the gym adds more stress and your body just revolts. It's not that you lack discipline, it's that you're training like your life isn't stressful when it is. You're applying your discipline to the wrong areas, i.e. trying to will yourself to just go and show up rather than focusing on the other areas of your life that are going to help lead up to and help you recover and come in fresh even when you have stressful days. When we face a task that is too far above what our current energy or motivation levels are, enthusiasm or that desire to train immediately goes down the drain. Think about it as trying to start up a fire, right? A fire requires oxygen to fuel the flames and to fuel that chemical reaction that's going on. Now, when that fire is, just a very small little smoldering ember, or not even an ember at all, just a little wisp of smoke, if you're blowing on it with a big gust of wind, you risk blowing the flames out completely. Whereas if you just coax it a little bit, you can bring it higher and higher until it's strong enough that stronger winds will just make it even more powerful. So here's the truth. The all or nothing mentality has killed more fitness goals than time, family responsibilities, or work ever will. Most guys think that they need to do more, or that the more that they exercise, the more that they train, the better their physique will look. They think back to their time playing high school or college sports when they would be sometimes doing the football two-a-days. They'd be practicing in the morning and they'd practice in the evening. And they were training for several hours every day. And they think, I was in great shape back then. If I just could go back and do that, I would be in great shape again today. What they fail to realize is that when they were training in high school and college, number one, you weren't training to lose weight. You weren't training to get lean. You weren't training for aesthetics. You were training for performance. And when you're training for performance, the way that you train, the way that you eat is going to be different than the way that you train and the way that you eat when you're trying to get a flat stomach and build a little bit of muscle. And so when guys think about all the time that they were training, they automatically think, I don't have time to do that anymore, therefore I can't do it at all. You don't need to spend hours, 2 to 3 hours a day in the gym to have a flat stomach and have a decent build. You don't even need to spend an hour a day in the gym. Instead, you need smart systems that are designed to work with your current lifestyle rather than against your lifestyle. You need to eat for aesthetics rather than eating for performance. You need a nuts and bolts training program that delivers you just what you need to get the results you're looking for without any extra added in. That system is exactly what I've created inside of Hybrid Strength 101, my 16-week online strength and conditioning program designed to help busy men of their 40s build 5 to 10 pounds of lean muscle while shedding 15 to 20 plus pounds of body fat and increasing their overall athleticism with just 20 to 30 minutes of focused strength training per day. Hybrid strength training consists of 4 unique strength training styles. You have muscular endurance training, like calisthenics, push-ups, or high-rep weightlifting. Then you have bodybuilding, which is a little bit higher intensity and in the moderate rep range. Then you have powerlifting. Powerlifting is high intensity, low volume, And then finally, you have the athletic piece, speed and power development, sprinting, jumping, Olympic lifting, if you have the experience to be able to start doing that, punching, kicking. Those things are the fourth and final piece in the hybrid strength framework. Today I want to focus on the first pillar, which is muscular endurance training, and how it can help you as a busy man over 40 manage your stress and come back recovered from the other forms of strength training in the hybrid strength system. Remember, it's not about training more, it's about training smarter. All strength training styles have unique benefits, and that's why I've included them in the hybrid strength system. The purpose of the hybrid strength system is to get you efficient results by capitalizing on the strengths of each strength system while using the other strength systems to cancel out the downsides or the deficiencies that certain strength training styles have. Muscular endurance can be your secret weapon to help you recover and come back better from your bodybuilding, powerlifting, and speed and agility training. If you're into strength training, if you're into the gym, you love pushing yourself hard. You want to be bigger, you want to be stronger, you want to be leaner, you want to be a better overall athlete. And I want that for you too. But nobody cares about how hard you're working if you don't get the results you're looking for. So let's work hard, but let's work smart so you can actually get the results that you showed up for. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at some of these training styles that are very popular. A lot of guys like doing CrossFit, they like doing powerlifting, they like doing bodybuilding, they like running marathons, they like doing sprint training, right? All these things are glamorous, right? They make them feel strong, masculine, and powerful. But when you're a guy who's busy, got high stress lifestyle, and then you contemplate doing those things and you just feel, man, I'm drained. Maybe I need to go on TRT. Maybe I need to do anabolic steroids or something so that I can have more energy. Or possibly the worst case scenario is you just say, hey, I don't have the time to devote to this, to getting the goals that I actually want to get, so why train at all? And the good news, you don't have to deal with that. But we do need to examine what happens when you are training different forms of strength training, athleticism, right? So, for example, when you're doing powerlifting, it's very effective for building strength, but at the same time, the reason it is because when you're lifting those heavy weights, it requires a lot of activation of your nervous system, which is very fatiguing on your nervous system, right? You can get central nervous system burnout if you're lifting heavy all the time without enough recovery. At the same time, you don't want to just lift really heavy and then do nothing in between. And that's where this muscular endurance stuff comes in. Now, bodybuilding, on the other hand, is a little less fatiguing to your central nervous system, so has a moderate effect. But you still don't want to do it too much because joints and tendons can take a beating from too much volume for too much time. Power training, speed, agility, Olympic lifting, jumping, sprinting, those kind of things are very similar to powerlifting in the central nervous system fatigue aspect, but they add another layer to this. So if you're at the office and you're really working hard with your brain, right? You had a stressful day, you're fried, and then you go in and you try to start doing Olympic lifting, right? The Olympic lifting is not only hard on the nervous system from a physical standpoint, it's also from a coordination standpoint. It's a very technical skill set, right? And so your mind is involved in these lifts just as much as the body is. And so we have to take that into consideration as well. Just because it's effective for helping to build muscle, build explosive speed and power, doesn't mean that you want to do it all the time. We need to buffer that with recovery practices, including certain types of exercise, to make it so that you can still train hard, even when you have stressful days, and be able to come back and recover very quickly from those. So how do we recover from these higher intensity forms of exercise? Well, as I had alluded to earlier, muscular endurance is one method to do that. Obviously, sleep and quality nutrition are also going to play a role. Hence, everything is holistic. Everything is interconnected, right? You can't just show up to the gym with a poor night's sleep, not having fueled properly, and expect to have a great workout. In the same way, your workouts should also be designed synergistically such that the different forms of training that you're doing are helping you to recover and complement and accentuate the other forms of training that you're doing. So as you recall earlier in the video, I talked about how powerlifting has a high central nervous system demand, as does speed and power and Olympic weightlifting style exercises. So we want to be doing these exercises because they are very effective for helping to increase our overall strength and power, and then also helping us to efficiently burn visceral fat too, even without having a very restrictive diet, which is typically what you will do with bodybuilding, where you rely on building the muscles in the off season and then dieting down to strip away the fat. Now, with speed and power training, you can oftentimes have decreases in body fat just with the training alone. So definitely something good in there to have in your program, especially if you're a guy who wants to maximize your time in the gym. You want to stay strong, you want to stay lean, and you don't want to have to diet extremely restrictively to do it that way, and this is one of the advantages of the hybrid strength system. Be that as it may, they are also very taxing on your nervous system. So just because they're good, we don't want to be training them all the time. Therefore, we need to buffer them with the muscular endurance training. So muscular endurance training, when performed consistently, helps your body to recover from the stress of training, because every time after you work out, cortisol goes up, and then a period of an hour or 2 or 3 after the training, that cortisol gradually returns down to baseline. Now, with consistent muscular endurance training, training the high rep ranges where you're not per se trying to stimulate more muscle growth, right? But you are pumping more blood through and everything. And it also helps your body to return back to a baseline parasympathetic state much more quickly after training. This not only is good for your physical training, but it also translates into the other areas of your life. So if you're having a lot of stress in your day-to-day life and you have a very high work capacity, muscular endurance-wise, you're going to be able to tolerate that stress in everyday life much better as well. Because your general default state in everyday life is going to be much more calm as a result of this style of training. And that is why in my hybrid strength program, I actually have a couple hybrid strength programs. I have Hybrid Strength 101, that's the 16-week program, and it's the introduction to hybrid strength training. Then you have Hybrid Strength 2.0, and that is a little bit more advanced version. And then the final piece is advanced hybrid strength, and that is actually true hybrid strength, where you're taking all 4 of these disciplines: muscular endurance, powerlifting, bodybuilding, and speed and agility training, and mixing them all together in a strategic, synergistic fashion, so you are getting these results that I'm talking about. And so in that phase 1, we're building a strong, wide base of high volume, relatively low intensity. And the next phase, you decrease the volume slightly while increasing the intensity. And the following phase, you do the same thing, all the way up to the top phase of the speed, power, and agility. And then when you're doing the hybrid strength workouts, that flips. You are using the muscular endurance training not as a base builder, but as a recovery tool to help you not only recover faster, but also when you're doing high intensity forms of training, you have something where like lipolysis, right? Where you are releasing fat from your fat cells. And then it floats around in your bloodstream, and it can get redeposited in those fat cells after training. So finishing the training with muscular endurance, high rep stuff, low intensity stuff can help to utilize those, because lower intensity forms of training are using more amounts of fat as opposed to carbohydrates to fuel them. So great way to not only enhance your recovery, but also to help you maintain a good body composition when paired with what I call synergistic nutrition, which I can talk about in some future videos. All right, guys, if you are interested in finding out more about hybrid strength training, I do have a free resource linked in the comment section below this video. You can check that out, download the guide, try out some of these hybrid strength workouts yourself. If you'd like to get more content related to workout design for building muscle, improving athletic performance, dieting for building muscle, enhancing performance, or shedding body fat, and then lastly, how to avoid getting injuries in the gym, and if you do get those injuries, how to work around them, then consider subscribing to this channel by hitting the button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and we'll see you all next time for more health and fitness information.